All right, sweet. Well, let's get into this. I fell down a rabbit hole and had a good time. So, just like to bring some of you guys along with me. All right, so we're going to start here. So, I was looking, not like it matters at this point because we've already won, but just to try and put the puzzle together right before it's revealed for kicks and giggles. I was looking through, a while back, a lot of the shills were saying, what does Bed Bath and Beyond still even have? And one thing is that they have their distribution centers, and so I was kind of looking into who actually like. Someone got on and said the distribution centers were quite up to date, and that actually was quite a big asset. And so I did a little investigating into who it is that runs those distribution centers, and they're automated, and it's Prologis. I don't know if I'm even pronouncing that right, but so here you can see some of the other people that they work with, and one commonality. Sorry, I just kind of rushed to get this out there just because I'm excited about it. But so bear with me. Let's see. I guess we could. They're kind of a big deal. They're kind of actually the biggest deal in warehouse technology, and well, they buy up real estate and then put these warehouses, and then they rent them out to whoever. Right? They are adaptable. They can be used for whatever. And so it seems like there's been quite a battle, and they put up these in, I think it was 2017. And so I think that I've been trying to figure out who the giants are that are fighting, and it seems that someone was trying to make all these warehouses not profitable, and so kind of like a concerted attack, and trying to look in to see who actually owns these. It is actually, let's see, it's actually Blackstone, right? So this is kind of the old Blackstone versus BlackRock kind of clashing. And let me close out some of these tabs. Um, all right, so Blackstone, Prologis separately bid for U.S. Arm. So okay, so that's the other player. Um, it's kind of confusing. I feel like they're not like that. There's a lot going on, and this is one of the biggest or the biggest real estate deal I think that has happened. Um, but GLP, so GLP used to be part. If I'm understanding the story correctly, let's see, um, of Prologis, but then it was sold earlier to a Singapore company, and so wow. Now that oh man, I've been just check out the okay. So sorry, man. I have so many tabs open. I probably shouldn't have done that. We'll do this one. All right. So GLP was initially formed in 2009 when Prologis China and Japan businesses were acquired by the government of Singapore, which rebranded them into GLP, right? And so Blackstone then took some of, I guess, the U.S. properties, but then BlackRock took the ones associated with Amazon. So okay. So if you look here, so this is BlackRock. This is you can see their involvement in Amazon. You know who they're going to elect, right? Even to ratify executive compensation, right? I'm haven't looked into it, but my guess is it's not that they want to decrease executive compensation. Anyone have their thoughts? So that's kind of why we're in this problem is that we have these overpaid executives, and so you can see that the kind of two sides fighting in this arena are those that believe in overpaid executives that use ESG as a way to funnel money to people, and those who don't. Not that either side, not that the other side doesn't believe in actually doing things in a sustainable way, but you know, I think we can see how much. Hold on, man, I really need to get someone in here to handle the morons that come in. I don't understand why they don't have better things to do with their life. Let's see. Okay. All right. Much better. So, okay. Sorry, I'm just going back through the comments real quick. Oh man, I somewhat regret clicking on this. So there's another. Okay, this one's good. Okay, so about Prologis. Prologis is a global leader in logistics, real estate, with a focus on high barrier, high growth markets. At March 31st, 2023, the company owned or had invested in a wholly owned basis or through co-investments ventures properties and development projects expected to total approximately 1.2 billion square feet. Um, Prologis leases modern logistics facilities to a diverse base of approximately 6,600 customers, principally across two major categories: business to business and retail online fulfillment. Blackstone is a global leader in real estate investing. So, we can kind of see that connection. And right. So, all right. Well, actually, if anyone, I'll put a link in the chat just in case anyone wants to jump in here, has any questions or has any comments, because I think I've noticed some people in the shipping industry, have had some insights into this. I'm sure it's been quite obvious too. Um, Thanks, Boston's. Yes, I have been putting it over time. um, Probably more obvious to people in the shipping and not like shipping. I think is um, quite an important industry. I mean, if you look at World War II, was started by a shipping company, right? That's where the Nazis came from. Not that shipping companies are bad, but they have a lot of power, and so that is the battle we're essentially seeing is Blackstone and Prologis sort of group, um, and Blackstone and BlackRock and Amazon. So uh, so this isn't just that some investor, Ryan Cohen or whoever, has, some money set aside and wants to try and start a business, right? That there's this back and forth battle, and there has been, ever since Blackstone split off into Blackstone and Blackstone and BlackRock, that's been moving a power pull back and forth. All right, let's see. Let's see who this is. Hey, what's up?
Hello?
Yeah,
Hey, kind of seemed like you need someone to bounce ideas off of.
that is
I can
true.
do
Thanks
that.
for coming.
Yeah.
I was like, as I was like following this rabbit hole, it all like made sense as I was going one step at a time, and then all of a sudden, once I get a bunch of people watching it, suddenly it's like, oh, I probably should have put all my tabs in a specific order.
Yeah, no
So,
problem.
so what do you have any questions or thoughts or?
My only thought about BlackRock specifically is it's a $10 trillion company. It's worth more than all but two countries in the entire world. They're going to
Yeah,
have their greasy little fingers and everything.
right. And but Blackstone is also, they're still the biggest.
Oh, I thought it was BlackRock. Were you looking at Blackstone?
So I'm saying both of them. So basically, it's a battle between Blackstone and BlackRock. That BlackRock has its association with Amazon, and also there was a connection. Uh,
Could you look up the asset under management for the different for both of them? Because I thought it was more BlackRock versus Vanguard.
I mean, I think BlackRock and Vanguard are in the same camp, actually.
Oh,
If you look at
interesting.
what they're
Okay.
trying to go for, they're they've been trying to move towards having control of companies, and whereas Blackstone is more of a real estate person, and
Yeah, they're buying up all the public house, or not public, but residential housing.
yeah, that's BlackRock. You're saying is doing that? Isn't?
I thought it was Blackstone. Oh man,
Oh.
we're in trouble now.
I mean, I think that they're both like have similar ideas. I mean, one to control things, but I mean, because each one of them, like you said, I mean, they're huge. There's a lot of people involved, um,
I
and yeah,
From
go
what
ahead.
I've heard, I'm sure BlackRock is also buying up residential housing developments, but I thought the plague of unaffordable housing is caused by Blackstone. That's what
Oh
I've
yeah,
heard or read.
yeah. Okay, yes. I mean, I have also heard that, um, and there's different branches and whatnot. I don't know. I've been trying to figure out all the connections, but I feel like purposely some of the important information is kind of hard to um, hard to find, and which is kind of annoying to figure out this story. They want everyone kind of in the dark.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. What so I haven't heard your voice before. What brings you to Bed Bath and Beyond?
The complete chaos and the PP subreddit.
Yeah.
No, really. I was on the PP show maybe like 4 or 5 times back in April and May. Then I got COVID, and then my brain was dumb for like 2 months, and
Yeah.
then up until then, I've been trying to catch up on stuff. And I mean, I felt like I should branch out now. More like it's either now or too late. You know what I mean? It's about to end. We're about to win.
Yeah. No, I believe it's going to be, depending on, and I guess that's another thing I wanted to bring up is that, I mean, kind of different from this. I guess maybe I'll go back to, is that as far as the DK, right? Oh, I guess I should pull that up. Well, it means I don't have that tab open right now.
Yeah. Do you think it means don't know or David Caston?
I believe it means don't know, right? So
Yeah.
basically, it's really bullish because it means that they're trying to figure out how to convert at what the ratio that they convert from one share to another, in that process, and that there's some unknown, but it means that they want to convert the shares. And so we'll get to see how that happens, and so how long that takes to them for them to sort out. So it's like the brokerage or someone else that's the brokerages or whoever that has a resistance to,
Sure.
but it means that the intention is there, which is awesome.
I
And
me
yeah.
me personally, I think that the listing of no par value on, I don't know, I saw it on the subreddit, like that's the most bullish thing out of everything, because it means they are listing no specific value. So if it goes down to like half a penny, and that's what we get
Mhm.
in exchange shares, why would they do that unless we were actually going to be getting shares?
Yeah. Dude, part of me almost wants to bring this Yo guy on just because I want to know why he's so desperate. Like, he
Give it a
doesn't even
try.
use his own name or turn on his camera. He doesn't want to put his face behind it. And he thinks like he's intimidating me, and it's like I have my face out there. Hey, Yo, if you put on, I see you in the lobby. Well, not without your camera, but you man up and show your face, and I'll pull you on screen. I don't care what you say. You can call me a grifter or whatever you want.
It's so
Yeah.
premature for all that. Is last time I checked, my shares are still in my broker, and
Yeah.
they're still at AST.
He says his boss won't let him show his face. Who's your boss? I'm curious. Anyway, sorry. Uh, so I mean, the idea of paid shills, I'm not gonna lie, I thought that was like kind of crazy talk before. I'm like, yeah, right. Like, who would like pay people to literally go through like random subreddits and troll people?
What
My hedge fund manager, he would be upset. Oh wow, no,
the
this
crazy
guy's
thing is, they'll do that shit. Like there are paid in like instigators on all social media, not even for just finance. Like there are well, all countries will do it. Try to say something bad about India, and they will swarm you like a cloud. Not that has nothing to do with the stream. I just, yeah, they're the whole internet is fake, basically.
yeah. I mean, what I like about, I think like something that's interesting is that a lot of people are using the old playbook. You know, all the idiots out there, they're like, oh, it worked for most people in 2008 that were just robbing people blind. And they still, got a severance package and whatnot. All but Bernie Madoff, was the only one to actually go to jail. So, but they're using the same playbook, even though now we're in a digital age where like everything's recorded, and it's only going to take a little while to sort it out and see who is out there really doing quite corrupt things. So he actually says, "No, he's just kidding. We won, guys. XOXO. We're all going to be rich." So, Yo, if you really want to come on, I'll pull you on the screen. Um, yeah. So DK is exciting. Yeah. So I think that I basically there's like a certain time period for each of the going back and forth. If there's like it's like 24 hours or something where um, they'll respond back to Butterfly with the reasons why and whatnot. So I don't know if they're doing that over the weekend or if we have to wait all of Monday for that to happen. So there's a chance that gets sorted out and we get our new shares on Monday. That also might be then Tuesday. And then there's also another going back and forth, which would somehow take like 4 days. So either way, we're going to be getting our new shares the next week. So it's quite exciting. And I've been trying to just figure out who all the big players are. That it seems like it's basically Amazon, Goldman Sachs, and Citadel and Virtu versus everyone who doesn't like those people. So it could be Shopify. Um, it seems, and this what is it called? Um, wow, I'm really flustered right now.
That would be a good thing to break down, like visually, as this and them sort of firms on one side or another. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I, as far as I'm concerned, they're all not great. But it would be good to see who is fighting who.
And I think they go through life cycles as well. So, I mean, you have like eras of each one. And so one might have done a certain thing at a certain time, and then you switch the management, and then they go a different direction. And I think once a group or, a company like tanks their reputation, then they have to kind of fix it, or just, go away. So I don't know. All I know is there's big players. We got Mo Money with a two conglomerate. Heck yeah. Um, Thanks, man. So I don't know. I just see a lot of big players, and I see this coming together really quickly. Um, I also just see, I don't want to say cock block, but like it just there's ways of these big players of you know because like you think about that, right? Like if if Prologis invested so much in a big warehouse in Nevada for Bed Bath and Beyond, and then suddenly they can't use it. That's just dead weight on their portfolio, just pulling them down. And
Sure.
if you can use that to kind of get ahead, but I think that they're gonna come back with a vengeance. And I don't know if that necessarily involves Blackstone specifically. I don't know. I was trying to flush out the differences, and that's why I was one reason I just kind of brought these things up without being completely done with going down the rabbit hole, is because I figured other people would take the torch and carry it forward. So
I mean, that's a big ask. That's there. You could spend 100 hours on each one of those companies and still not reach the end of the rabbit hole.
right. But like you said, it'd be nice to like sort out who's on who are these sides. Like one thing that was kind of exciting, and I don't know if anyone's ever seen it, is like the M3 partners. Um, did you see who all was on that list?
I remember Regal Cinemas, Toys R Us. Yeah, pretty much almost every company that has been abusively naked shorted into oblivion.
And ones that have had short squeezes, like American Airlines, right? Like
Yeah.
that's pretty crazy that we were using that as a comparison to
Well,
what
they
this
got
play could
bailed
do.
out by the government.
Yeah, but I mean, I think also the idea of we kind of see the government as like this distinct thing, but really it's, I mean, kind of just a business. Like Elon says, I don't know if he made the quote or someone else, that's just a business that has a monopoly on violence. And in 2008, right, like all the consultants were from BlackRock and all these different places. So it's like,
They still are.
yeah, they still are, right? So they're still like this, they're so entrenched with each other that it's scary to say the least. But this was just kind of what was making me think of,
Oh, it was Neiman Marcus, not Regal. That's
yeah. And that one also, anyway, just all of these are that there's just these like cartels, I guess you could say, for good or for bad. They're just, and you can look at Caterton, El Caterton, and Dragonfly, and so everyone has these different portfolios that they work together with, and yeah. So I think we're gonna find out soon how big this gets, how many people are actually on which side, and part of what was interesting to me was the difference of the timeline of China and like tensions between China and the U.S., and also with this GLP. Um, Actually, this is this one. It was
is that like the withdrawal of American tier one chip manufacturing?
yeah, that
Yeah.
and just kind of everything, I guess you could say. But there is like this power, like so right when between when Game GameStop squeezed, right? You have approval.
2021, January.
Yeah, so all the way back in 2020, it was talking about this, and it was saying by June 2021, this GLP, which they work with, I don't know if it was, I think it was like Tencent with Jack Ma, and so to they were going to IPO on the Chinese stock market. So
Interesting.
it seemed like that just the shipping technology and real estate, that it was like whoever was the bigger player would probably keep getting bigger and kind of push out the other one, and so it was a battle on both sides. And China wants to have the Silk Road, right? They want to have like a worldwide shipping lanes and pathways. So there's definitely a power struggle going on, both on like a whole, like BlackRock versus Blackstone, and then also just China versus the U.S. And
Have you heard of Peter Zeihan?
Peter Zeihan, I've heard that name. I'm not sure.
You should Google him. Just straight up Peter, and then Zeihan.
Okay.
He's, I don't even know what his title is, but he's predicting, and he's credible. He has credentials, but he's more or less predicting the future, like 10 years in the future or so.
Is it
And he more or less believes, that's him.
okay?
He believes that there was one study in like 2012. Shanghai said that they overestimated their young population by about 100 million.
Whoops.
And then, like between 18 and 40, their working population, and that they are more or less in a death spiral, unable to replenish their population for the size of their country.
Yeah. And then they also have like the lying flat movement, which
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of stuff. They apparently they have a plague of like bovine tuberculosis. They aren't going to be able to feed their people in like 2 years.
yeah, it's that's been a scary thing as I've been kind of learning about geopolitics and trying to figure out, one, who are all these giants fighting, and what are their goals. And it's a scary world out there. I don't know. I mean, I speak fluent Spanish, and I've actually been learning Chinese. I got my Chinese visa to go over there.
Oh,
I
good luck.
wish everyone was more chill in the
I'd
world, so
hold
that I
off on
wouldn't
that.
have to. Yeah, no, I'm not going to right now, but it's sad because like
Yeah.
I have friends from China, and yeah, I wish everyone could just get along. It'd be great.
So
But
this Peter Zeihan guy basically is saying that they aren't. There's not enough births of
mhm.
children, and within this decade, like I don't know if he means this 10 years or from 2023 to 2034.
Yeah,
Basically, the Chinese, the CCP as a whole is going to be unable to function.
yeah. Well, I mean, Elon Musk was saying that America needs to also start having more babies as well.
Oh, yeah. That's
So
definitely actions over words, 100%.
yeah. What do you mean?
He's had like 10 kids with like 6 different women.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, okay. I mean, I thought that was where you're going with that. I just didn't want to assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean it's interesting. We're up a. I mean, I think we're at a point where we have to discuss kind of difficult things, like how is it that we're. I think in World War II, we we had the idea that like globalization, like if our economies were so intertwined, we were kind of dependent on each other. We couldn't get mad at each other because like we could rug pull each other if we did, and so it would motivate us to not fight. Which I mean, as far as I guess Europe, it kind of worked, but I mean, I guess asking someone maybe from Brexit kind of type people, they might have a different idea about that. But I think it all came at a cost. And I think that, like, not to get political, but I think that instead of just trying to create more with the resources we have, just like the fact that they were like, Robin Hood and all the payment for order flow people were like, oh, we're going to offer free trading, but at the expense that we're going to try and make a bunch of money just naked shorting certain stocks. And
Sure.
so
Yeah.
on a global scale, they basically naked shorted the whole Middle East by setting up the absolute worst. This is after World War II, setting up the absolute worst borders you could have possibly made to destabilize and essentially naked short like a whole portion of the world. And I mean, also involving India as well. So I don't know. I think that hopefully we have enough technology, and we should at this point be able to make just a better framework for everything to actually work instead of just screw each other over.
Hmm. I think as far as America goes, we're still, I think NVIDIA said it was 2027 when they would be able to self-sustain America's computer chip needs. So that's, as far as, I mean, what I believe is China won't try to invade Taiwan until then, because that's probably when our protection is going to end for them. And so, I mean, the end of the world probably isn't going to happen until then, at least.
Yeah. Well, also, I don't know if they would want it as much once that happens. It's so sad. Why?
Sure.
I just don't get why. I was in a space with the GMEDD people, and
I
it
was there for
was.
that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I tried to go in. It was right after the guy got on and made the crow noises.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you held your own. That was good. They
Oh,
just
thank you.
are impossible to convince of anything.
Yeah, and they're not actually related to GameStop. That was kind of a disappointment. I was like, wow, they don't even like Ryan Cohen. That's pretty sad.
No, I'm pretty
Why they
sure they
even?
got bought out. If you saw, they released a movie, like a
Mhm.
documentary film that was in theaters in, like, I don't know if it was the beginning of 2022 or the early 2020 or late 2021, but yeah, they basically, the end of the documentary is like, this was a great experience, like we made so much money, too bad it's over. Like that was the gist of it. And
Yeah.
that Rod Ailsman guy was in it. And I mean, it's unfortunate, obviously, like some people can be,
And just not like, I think people throw around words like narcissist or sociopath too much, but like a sociopath is someone that just doesn't care at all about anyone's well-being, right? And so I'm talking, like, I brought up Jake Friedman, and I was like, why is it that Ryan Cohen was dragged into this pump and dump when he bought, all the way back in March? It didn't really squeeze till August, and someone, Jake Friedman bought in right before, probably with insider information that they were going to do the share buyback, and sold at the top. And then instead of, he had 35 days or whatever to announce that that he sold, yet he says immediately and then shorts it all the way down, knowing that Ryan Cohen
yep.
had to sell because of the share buyback put him over the 10%. And so it's like the biggest scheme that's ever happened. And Rod says, sounds like a good play to me. What? Like, it's not like, oh, you destroy, like, destroyed Ryan Cohen's plans to actually add value to the company. You destroyed so many people's investments. You destroyed a whole, like, all these employees that were working for Bed Bath and Beyond at the time now don't have a job, all because of that. And both of them were like, the whoever the other GMEDD guy is and Rod, they're both like, well, it just sounds like a great play to me. And I just think
Yeah,
we're kind
illegal.
of we're kind of over, like, it's we need to have a change. It should be that the public markets belong to the public, and that we support something bigger than ourselves, something that we can't bigger than what we could create on our own. And we have to get rid of idiots like that just whatever increases their bank account the most at whatever cost.
Do you think that's the crux of that interview he gave in 2022? That's why he said things change. I don't remember his exact words, but when asked about Bed Bath and Beyond, all he said, like he shrugged and said, some things change.
Yeah.
Do you think
Oh,
that's
100%. Like
it's the Freeman? Yeah.
he had a
Okay.
standstill agreement, right? And
Yeah.
then, so the scam has to go, higher, because, why in the world is a company not making money doing a share buyback? Like, I just want to know. And I want to know, like, what the SEC is doing about that, because, like, I don't have a finance background, and it's as clear as day that it's really odd to do an accelerated buyback when you don't even have that big of a float to begin with, right? And
Yeah.
then they knew that they had a standstill agreement, and yet still it was like, oh, we're gonna do this, dooming the company, because, like, now that, I mean, one, it's gonna scare everyone if they use up all their money. So now they don't, like, they're gonna have to borrow money. They can't borrow money if the shares price goes down, or for whatever other reason they can't borrow money. So why in the world would no one's alarm bells go off when they're doing a share repurchase program when they're not making money? And then
Sure.
to see that literally, Jake Friedman is so greedy that he times it perfectly, right at the very bottom, and, like, oh, I know they haven't done the share purchase yet. Boom, buys in, sells. Like, he was only even in the play for, like, a matter of weeks. And yet they're dragging Ryan Cohen into court over this. Like, I just can't even wrap my
Yeah.
head around it.
It pays to have good PR.
Well, it's not even just PR. Like, why was Jake Friedman not even dragged into court? Why didn't they bring everyone in?
Because he probably had the PR agents of JP Morgan. It probably doesn't get better than that.
Yeah. No, and I agree. I think it's just sad. We live in a world where it's like they should be JP Morgan should be able to make money without doing stuff like that, without, like, working with people like that. It's just, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Not enough though. There's never
Yeah.
enough. That's so any of the listeners that were here or on the PP show back in April and May might get frustrated with this, because I was advocating reading this book, but there's a book that came out back then called Plunder. I don't remember the author, but he was a prosecutor for the DOJ, going after finance
Mm-hmm.
firms, and he more or less lays out everything that private equity does to get the upper hand and manipulate and do the horrible things that they
Mm-hmm.
do. And the way they get the upper hand typically is they'll buy into a company, they'll force sell, they'll make the company sell all of their locations and then rent them
Yeah.
back. And so that's the way that they bankrupt them. So, and that's exactly what happened to Bed Bath and
Right.
Beyond. They, Triton and whoever else was pulling those strings, they came in, they made Bed Bath and Beyond sell what locations that they actually held, and then rented them back. And then, it, I mean, that's more or less game over. Like, it doesn't matter how many stock buybacks you do if you're spending a few $100 million renting properties that you owned just a few years ago. I mean, that's it.
EB with a 5. Michael having dinner with a fam. We'll watch the show later. Everyone remember to hit that like button. Hey, thanks, man. Yeah, no, I mean, and that was actually the other interesting thing is, like, I didn't know anything about Rod. I thought he was, I kind of actually felt bad, when he came in, because I thought he was just kind of a nobody.
Oh,
When I first, like, was exposed to him. So it was kind of it's been a weird adventure anyway, but, he said he worked for, I think he said he worked for the Boston Consulting Group. And so I think that what you're saying, that all kind of goes together, where basically these consultants come in and they're like, look, we're going to take down your company. So like either A, you get money on, secretly, while we kill your company, or you don't get money while we kill your company. And so
I mean, that's,
they have
yeah,
all their
I think that seems to be the implications with, especially with RC's high paid consultant suite.
exactly. And so, they come in, and it's like, what are they saying that's so, proprietary, right? Like what secrets? And it's like, no, like they're just well connected, and they come in and it's like, look, you really got to do this. Otherwise, I mean, it's the same, things the mafia has always been doing, right? Like the mafia would go by and they're like, hey, they go to the pizza place. Are you buying our cheese? Like if we come in and you're not buying our cheese or Wisconsin cheese or whatever, someone might accidentally get hurt. And if anyone
Yeah.
resisted or
Or
whatever,
racketeering.
yeah. Gurdet Solvmed with a 50 DKK would love to hear more about ESG. Is it a tool for compliance? So actually, yeah. So I actually was going to tie that in, is what I think they do is how they, one thing that the consultants would say is like, look, well, what would help the value of your company is if were more ESG compliant, right? And I think that's why, why Carl Icahn has the Bahamas up there, and it's just a cheap piece of paper. There's literally no substance to it, and it's because all of those carbon credits with the ESG get funneled through the Bahamas, and so there's all this money that gets scraped off, and can secretly through FTX or whatever back into the pockets of whoever is agreeing to this process, whether it's the regulators that are turning a blind eye to it or whoever. And so it's just kind of the playbook is the consultants come in, they make you ESG compliant, which kills the company. They short it on the way down, and they extract as much as they can through buying carbon credits as they can, and that money is you know laundered through the Bahamas.
For sure. I mean,
And
they've
yeah,
the left definitely has their own evil notions too, but I just you should look up Bain Capital. Mitt Romney was an exec over there. I'm pretty sure Bain was behind the Toys R Us collapse in Circuit City. So it's not, this isn't a specifically stunted left or right ordeal. I think that is the true meaning behind RC's left or right, who gives a fig.
oh
It's,
yeah,
it doesn't, it doesn't matter. They're both playing the same game. They're
yeah.
just, they appear to be playing on different sides when they're really not.
No, I agree. And um, I'm just glad that there's, one thing I think that helps cooperation is transparency, right? That's like all we can really offer someone else as far as like hoping that they trust us is to be more transparent. And I guess it's kind of like with technology, people are more so living in a glass house.
Oh yeah.
And I'm really excited for all of the changes that are going and the awareness towards this. And you know, it's it's time. It's time that we actually put our resources towards building a better world instead of just you know padding
Yeah.
our bank account.
Oh, and let me tell you, like, this is what I truly believe. I was actually just telling a buddy of mine this today. You don't get actual change by posting your opinion on some SEC proposed regulation. You do it by hitting them in the wallet. And by them, I mean anybody that can afford to pay a politician, through lobbying to lean a certain way or another. Once you expose the corrupt financier for what they are, hopefully no politician will even touch them. And
Yeah,
that's when you get, and that's why I'm so excited about what's currently happening,
yeah,
because we are on the verge of potentially the biggest earthquake in the financing world since the 70s, more or less.
Yeah. No, I mean I think we're finally fixing the problems that we saw in 2008, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean I think even understand like they muddied the waters so well, and I think that they kept everyone else so busy working hard that they didn't have time to figure out how the markets worked. Like I brought this up before, but it's just like it really annoys me. I didn't even know GameStop was happening, the whole squeeze or sneeze or whatever, because I literally had three jobs.
Damn.
So I didn't see the news, and even if I, I didn't have time to be on Reddit or anything, and so it's just, and I have other friends, now I'm finally, in a stage of my life where other friends have been building up a retirement, and here it's like, they don't have time to be figuring it out, so they just buy ETFs, not knowing that all their votes go towards these people that are doing this process of, using those votes to destroy companies.
Or that all of their cash is going to be used to buffer an economic downturn.
That too. Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited. What? How do you think? I mean, what are your? I don't know. What are you most excited about? Like as far as this play and
I
I
just
don't
want
know.
to know who it is because I look since they shut Bed Bath and Beyond down, like on I have Fidelity, I do have DRS shares, but I've just since they shut it down, I have every week I've been depositing like $100 just in anticipation of when they open it up. But as soon as they announce who is behind this acquisition, I'm going to, if it's Icon, going IAP, if it's, if it is RC, going GameStop, if it's someone else, well, I got to do some research then. But I mean,
Yeah.
I just want to know who it is. Like, I know for a fact, like, okay, not a fact, but 99.99%, like, we're getting paid. So
Oh yeah.
I just
No.
want to know who.
Yeah. Yeah. It is going to be. I mean, I feel super zen. I mean, the only reason I'm doing research is one. Um,
No, you should. It's never
yeah.
stop because this will only make you better for the next one. Like, never quit.
And that's the thing. I do like. I feel. Um, I think that. I don't know. I think that what like Kevin Malone is doing, where he's does has a charity, towards financial education. Like I think that's
Oh, yeah.
so important.
Yep.
Like if we all understood how the market works, what the typical tricks are that and why we shouldn't let them happen, then we could all just have synergy happen instead of this zero sum game. Like I'm tired of it. I think a lot of people are tired of it. You know,
Yeah.
we just
And
got
sadly, like, I mean, the system is so convoluted that it would probably take an 8-year PhD program to even, like, have a base level of the full system when
yeah.
it should be a 4-year program. I mean, let's be honest. It should be something you can get at Arizona State or a community college.
Yeah.
Sorry for those of you that went to ASU. Just,
I mean, I think we could just make it more straightforward. I mean, if companies weren't naked shorted and if, executives weren't overpaid, you could just pick whatever company you like, You wouldn't need an ETF, you wouldn't need a financial advisor. It's just like, hey, I go to this restaurant, I like it, I hope it stays around, and then you just buy it, right? Like you shouldn't I just think that what breaks everything is having so many middlemen. And when you look at all the different processes, right? You have, and especially when the middlemen are either fallible, they can mess it up, or just mess it up on purpose.
sure.
And that's why I like the idea of a decentralized exchange. Like the middleman is just the contract. It's written in. You shouldn't need a person in the middle of. You shouldn't need FINRA. You shouldn't need the like any sort of clearinghouse. It just should be just you buy the share. You just buy it. Like,
I think that's the
I don't know.
inevitable outcome, but just look at the actions that have been taken on the blockchain. Like, I don't know if it's specifically Gary Gensler, but the SEC has been going hard. And
Yeah.
maybe all of those firms were breaking the law, but I mean, just I feel like RC knows that because he's backed away from that NFT marketplace idea, which I thought was killer. I thought it was going to make so much money. But I mean, they still have deals with other blockchain firms, but I mean, it's such a excuse me, it's such a hazardous environment right now.
And I think that it's like you have to kind of pick your battles. You don't want to, there's the saying, don't fight the Fed, right? I mean, if you're investing, right, it's like kind of, it's, so I mean, I think that, so talking to some people, they say that it was just a way to kind of work within the system and in the crypto world and get that all started so that they could integrate Loopring. I think that that's part of it, but also just the fact that they're like, well, we're going to take it away for right now and then bring it back once we get everything else that's like a bigger priority, like getting bye bye baby and everything. So
Sure.
I think we'll see the NFT marketplace come back. We got
I
Gurk. Oh, go ahead.
I think it's coming back, but I don't think it's going to be under their banner. I think that's why it was like a month before they announced, not even a few weeks before they announced that the marketplace was going to be going away. They announced a partnership with something called Player, Plyr,
Yeah.
and it's a more or less like Steam, but with Web3 capabilities because for some reason Steam banned Web3 shit.
Hmm.
But I think it's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be an acquisition, but I think it's going to be done through their banner Player, and uh, GameStop's going to orchestrate it through their partnerships. But that's just my opinion. I mean, that's how I would do it, and I'm worthless, so I guess
No, no. I mean, I think you're
don't
onto
take my
something.
word for it.
I mean, I think that we need more blockchain everything just because it's like, to put the regulatory pressure on just a certain few people at the SEC or whatever. I mean, that'd be
Yeah,
terrifying. I would not want to be the SEC chair, right? Knowing that people would want to kill me if I don't do what they want, right? And then
oh,
I have to be
he's
up there pretending like I can make up some excuse why what I'm doing makes sense when really it's like I don't want to die. Like it's like either I make a lot of money from the hedge funds or whoever, or they kill me. So obviously, even if you didn't want the money, you just still got to just do it. And so if
yeah.
we decentralize, that would take the pressure off of them.
I mean, I do you really think it'll appease the rest of the boomer voters and the even older Congress and other politicians? I mean, if you put it in the hands of a completely transparent system, there's still going to be very wealthy people trying to inhibit it.
No, that's
Even
true.
though, I mean, that's just,
But I think like that's the thing is it's like
yeah,
calculus, right? You can't divide by zero, but you can try and get closer and closer to zero and see how much that changes the answer. And I think that,
that's a good
you
point.
know, we're dividing by zero point 0.1 right now, and that's definitely not the right answer. And so if we can even add one more decimal place, we'll get closer to what the right answer is. And we have to keep pushing that decimal back until we approach, the right answer. But I know that like there is a balance. Like if you're in a relationship and you're offering more transparency than the other person, that's not a good relationship. And the fact that just today I was hearing whatever his name is, Stark, John Stark or something, former SEC guy, and he's like, no, like crypto's dumb and like it's corrupt and like just let we should just have fiat currency and then the SEC handles it. And it's like, yeah, but like that's fine, but like who's monitoring the SEC? Because like we
Well,
we
that's the game
definitely
they
need some
want.
more. Huh?
They want, excuse me, they want the game to be, trust me, I'm honorable,
Yeah.
but behind the scenes they're going to abuse the system. That every single compartment of the government is like that. They want that unspoken rule of trust me, I've got it, and they don't.
Yeah,
And
and people,
so I
yeah, go ahead.
no, I'm just saying that's probably going to be the biggest and most important outcome from this economic explosion that's about to happen is every single person in the world is going to be like, oh shit, they don't got it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Also, I mean, there's drawbacks, right? To, it's like if there's transparency, people will freak out if they don't know what something is or whatnot. And, but I just think that it's like they just definitely need to be making a better effort to be more transparent. And, I recognize it's a hard job, but like, there's a lot of people willing to help, and we should just let everyone help.
I agree.
All of this, we have Girdet Self is WEF and who connected to ESG.
Well, I
I'm
mean
gonna
the
have to do. Do you have any comments on that? Actually,
I mean it's Klaus Schwab and the WEF is behind ESG. Like I mean it's not.
yeah,
I don't think it's a giant conspiracy though. I just think oh this is a way they're trying to do business because it's leaning towards that political party.
mm-hmm.
It's not. It's just another form of control. I don't think it's some giant worldwide communist movement.
Mm-hmm.
It it's let me tell you, the worst thing for business is communism.
Right.
It is private firms that want to control every aspect of business. And it just so happens that quote unquote socialism is going to be the biggest thing for their voter base. That I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get heated about it, but I mean, I see so much stuff that's just like, okay, like it's not, this isn't a fantasy novel.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a cabal, but
Yeah.
whatever.
No, I agree. It's like I think that people do like to, not even in a fantasy novel. I think that people treat it less than a fantasy novel. I think it'd be better at least putting it that like I think they have it as like a just a not even a one sentence thing. It's just like a few words like capitalism equals good or something. But really, I think that what it comes down to is there's two kind of ideals. One is openness, like the open society, and then closedness, right? Like if you want your phone to be waterproof, right? You want low tolerances. You don't want it to be open to anything. You want it to be closed. So there's like a competency versus just numbers. And so there's always been, since the beginning of time, you have like the tribal government and then the state government. The tribal government is based on alignment. They're all, very low tolerance for people that aren't on the same page. And then you have the state government, which has, picks up all the people that don't fit into a tribe. And then the numbers versus, the competency. And it goes back and forth. And there's benefits of both. Like, right, we need to be making space for people, but also we kind of actually have to get work done. So we kind of actually have to be competent at what we're doing. And it's sad that we literally have just continuously, we have just both. Yeah, the Carl Schwab open society where it's like we want people to be incompetent because then we know that they need the state. And then it's like, and then the other people like we want them to be, intolerant so that we know that we're all on the same page. And it's like, we got to keep trying to balance the two. And I think that it's sad that we kind of get these like fixed places, fixed things like the WEF or the World Health Organization that can kind of get latched onto a certain aspect of that, right? Because you wouldn't need either one of those if everything was good, right?
Do you think if everything was good, politics and government wouldn't exist? I mean, people have an innate desire to control things. I mean, that's just my opinion. I'm not saying really anything other than that. I'm not trying to deny or state anything factually. Just people, type A personalities want to control things.
I think we've gotten into the kind of Fordian era of like an assembly line where we would rather be a cog in a machine that produces a lot rather than just be our own machine. And I think that
Okay, that's fair.
we all need to be an integrated person, right? And you can see this more so in, or more easily in a relationship, right? In a codependent sort of way, where you have one person who is outgoing and, or assertive, and the other one who's not. And so they both, like, instead of learning how to be assertive, they just find someone else that fills that niche for them, and then they just never learn it. And so I think that if we create the framework so that each person could be more integrated and that we value that as society, I think we would need a lot less governing, and you would not need to control as much, because control is a response to, like, fear, right? And fear is, I think people at their core are good, and that if they have the right tools, that they're going to do the right thing. But
But what do you do when someone in government is in fear of their own people? Like that's a cyclical event.
right, yeah, that is the conundrum, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know that I mean, I know that it's not an easy solution. I just know that the more integrated people there are, the more people there will be solving the problem, and the less of a problem there will be. And you know, I think it's hard to start because, you know, it's so lucrative to. I mean, if you there was a movie that came out. It was like the invention of the lie, and like they lived in an honest world, and then literally, he lies for the first time, right? And so, you know, I think that there's kind of like this swing back and forth between, like, when you're in a really unjust world, there's a need for justice, and people actually value that. And then when there's like, when you're in a very just world, well, now there's a big incentive to be unjust because you'll have a monopoly on it, right?
Sure.
And so I think we're in that swing where that's why we're so attracted to Ryan Cohen, is because he's the only one out there not taking a salary. And it's like, I don't know what other motives he has, but, like, I would rather someone, you know, at least assume I was intelligent and trick me rather than just, like, be like, no, you're dumb and I'm just gonna do it right in front of you. Like, so,
That's a fair point.
yeah. But I do think that I think that what he sees might be that it's just not sustainable the way we've been doing it, and I don't know why, like, why people have to treat it as a zero sum game. Why is it that we have to exploit other countries in order for us to be successful? Like, literally, the world's big enough. We have enough technology. Like, it's like literally embarrassing the fact that we don't all just work together to all be in a better position. You know,
I agree
like,
with you completely. But
yeah,
I think there's some ideology that doesn't die, like the idea of empire. And
yeah,
America is definitely not the worst perpetrator of that sort of ideology, but I mean they still are. They're doing it. They're letting the governments they oversee operate their own affairs.
yeah. And I mean, there was a city, an ancient city in India that didn't have any weapons, and they lived for like a long time, like, peacefully. And then just one day, someone came with weapons and killed them all.
Is this
So,
the Indus Valley? I like history. Is this the
oh,
Indus Valley?
and I'm that it's no wonder that it's people like us found each other through this.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I spend most of my time listening to history books, especially prehistory. I really like that stuff.
wow,
Yeah,
okay.
and then Bed Bath and Beyond, and then GameStop, and then listening to my wife talk.
Well, we just I just found a new friend, so I'm
All
excited.
right. I mean, my Reddit name is the same as this, so if
Yeah,
you want to get in
okay,
touch.
sweet.
But do you want to bring someone else in here because my phone's at 5% and I'm gonna have to go pretty soon.
Okay, it's all good. I mean, the only thing I really wanted to bring up was just that. kind of like the pro Prologis sort of connection, that I think that that's like something that's going on, and that that there's big players that are going to make this a reality, and it's not going to be the old business model that it was. Bed Bath and Beyond is just going to be one component of. I mean, it's home goods, right, and baby goods. Those are in industries that have been around forever, and they always will be. And we're going to be part of this new Amazon competitor that's going to be, in my opinion, way better. So
I mean, it's gonna be the new generation. Amazon is the old way. Like I remember when my parents were super excited about Amazon. That
yeah,
that shit's over.
yeah. Well, thank you for coming on. It's been
Yeah, it was a lot of
awesome.
fun.
Yeah, maybe I'll stream again tomorrow. We'll see. But
I'll be around.
all right, sweet. Well, thank you.
Yeah, take care.
All right, you too. And see ya, everyone else too. Thanks for coming. You guys are all awesome.